All right. The Democrats don't like you. And the Democrats don't care if they lose. The Democrats don't care if you vote for them. And this is a segment that's also going to bring in Bernie Sanders, too. That nutless cuck of a wonder. So why am I bringing up Bernie Sanders and all this? Yes. Have you said enough about Bernie Sanders? Absolutely. But this needs to remain a permanent lesson that we cannot hero worship these politicians. And to be fair here, Bernie Sanders in 2016 inspired me and Daniel to create Hard Lens Media. His words did have an impact. Now, if I knew that he was a nutless cuck with a wonder, I would not have spent as much time defending him in 2020. I regret that, and I have to live with that L for the rest of my life. It is something that I don't think I can ever really wipe clean from my mind, but it's a lesson. Don't hero worship these politicians. But see, the thing is, though, the Democrats right now are in a very interesting spot because they're being hated by their former progressive allies. And yes, there are some progressives that are still carrying water for the Democrats, but they're being viewed as the bad guys, just like how a lot of people don't like the Republican Party. But the thing is, the Democrats, I think they miss being the underdog, or either that pretending to care, pretending to be, oh, yes, things are tough and bad under Trump, but you got to vote for us. And that's why we need to go ahead and push forward, which is why I think, honestly, there are many Democratic lawmakers that are banking on the fact that if Kamala loses, it won't be a bad thing for them. So I want to pull up this audio clip. It's from Caitlin Johnstone. She recently posted something on Twitter. And this is a reading by Tim Foley. And I encourage all of you to please follow Caitlin Johnstone. I'm going to play this video uninterrupted. I'm muting my mic because it needs to resonate. So if you're driving to work right now, if you're doing some work in the kitchen, or you're doing some paperwork, whatever, just listen carefully, because the Democrats don't care if they lose. They never have, and they never will, because they don't care about you either.
Democrats don't care if you vote for them and don't care if they lose. Now that the election is closer and the Democrats have switched out Biden for Harris, I feel like I should reiterate my position that you're not actually punishing the Democrats if you refuse to vote for them in November. I often see people talking about making the Democratic Party pay a price for Gaza and for ignoring calls from progressives to end the genocide, but it doesn't actually work that way. They don't care. They don't care if you don't vote for them. They don't care if they lose. Their political careers will be fine either way. It's entirely okay and legitimate to not vote for Democrats, but don't let that act dupe you into thinking your vote matters. It doesn't matter how you vote, and it doesn't matter how you don't vote. The U.S. power structure is set up to be completely unaffected by voters. Acting like you could teach the Democrats a lesson by refusing to vote for them only feeds into the illusion that voting matters inside a power structure that is being deemed too important to be left to the hands of the voters. There's a viral tweet from Glenn Greenwald going around that says, "The U.S. has no functional president and has not had one for months, and it's barely noticeable and barely matters because there's a permanent unelected machine that runs the government." Greenwald is correct. Nobody with any real power cares all that much who the president is. The president doesn't even need to have a functioning brain. This whole show is being run by people who don't ultimately care all that much whether Democrats or Republicans are in office, including the party leadership of the Democrats and the Republicans. You think Democrats have enjoyed playing the face of the evil empire these last few years? You think they've enjoyed having their political rallies interrupted by anti-genocide protesters and having their feel-good progressive image completely discredited in front of everyone? They'd all be having a lot more fun if the terrible things being perpetrated by the Biden administration were being done by Trump instead, so they could go back to playing the good guys. They're happy to lose, which is why they're acting like they're happy to lose. They're doing absolutely nothing to appeal to progressives or energize their base. They're not articulating any real policies besides more of the same. They're not changing anything about any of the stuff that makes normal people hate Democrats in the year 2024. And if they lose again in November, they will continue to not change anything. Americans don't live in the kind of country where votes matter. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Vote or don't vote however you want, but don't make the mistake of believing you'll be teaching the Democrats any kind of lesson that they will actually learn by doing so. If real change comes to the United States, it won't be because of how any Americans chose to vote or not vote in any of their fake elections. There are no solutions to these problems in electoral politics. Other solutions are needed.
She's not wrong. And that was outstanding reading, by the way. And the thing is, I think the Democrats do miss being the quote unquote cheerleader in the side, you know? And what I mean by this is I remember all the protests I covered 2016 through 2020. And maybe it's because my brain is just mentally preparing myself for a potential Trump election. And no, it's not going to be like, oh no, Trump won. It's more of, oh no, will there be another dumb, stupid, pointless protest in downtown Chicago right in front of Trump Tower? And if me and Daniel or anybody else have to do some work or anything like that, how much of a delay will there be? And I get it. Everyone, freedom of speech, I get it. I get it. But sometimes, folks, there's a thing called wasting people's time. And protesting in front of Trump Tower here in Chicago is a waste of time. They're not even protesting in front of the freaking building. It's across the river. And the CPD will never let the protesters cross that bridge. I mean, that's just, it's not going to happen. Plus, Trump Tower is in a government building, to which I will have to say to the potential protesters and activists, should Trump win, are you going to have that same energy towards Democratic lawmakers or the jagoff politicians in City Hall? Yeah, probably not. Now, listen, if we actually see something different, hell, I'll apologize. I'll be the first one to apologize. I'll be like, okay, all right, protesting in front of Democratic offices, Republican offices, not in front of freaking Trump Tower. Great. But you're going to have people like AOC and Bernie Sanders capitalize on Trump derangement syndrome, calling him the next Hitler, calling him a tyrant, and it gets boring. And then they make the promises about Medicare for all and student debt forgiveness. But yet I'm still getting these freaking emails, them asking me for money. But see, the thing is, these Democrats aren't serious about their beliefs. Case in point, it's okay to be pragmatic and to flip-flop on your own beliefs. Take it away, Bernie.
You have described Vice President Kamala Harris as a progressive. She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election. My own view is
yeah, she's being pragmatic. Okay, again, Kamala was never for Medicare for all. All right, now to my progressive and my left-leaning audience, you know, you guys and gals know, but I just have to just drill this home to conservatives and libertarians and Trump supporters. Kamala's never going to do it. Okay, it's just not going to happen. And yet you have this nutless cuck of a wonder, Bernie, saying, "Oh, that's okay." Bernie, tell us why it's okay again. You freaking cuck.
Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election. My own view is slightly different. I think that in America today, there are a lot of people, rural people, working class people, who no longer believe that the United States Congress and government represents their interests, too dominated by big money interests. So I think that there is something wrong personally when we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee healthcare to all of our people, despite spending twice as much per capita. That is why I support Medicare for all. She does not. She has another approach toward moving toward universal health care.
Yes, moving towards universal health care, right? All right. So that's not going to happen, and it won't happen. But I'll tell you what will happen. Should the Democrats lose, let's say Kamala Harris bombs, okay? Let's say she bombs, kaboom, far in the wind, fails miserably at this debate against Donald Trump, and the Democrats lose. They're going to roll out the old carpet for Medicare for all again. They're going to say, we got to fight for this. They're going to make up all these promises. They say that they're going to keep on pushing forward. Now, that is the same tried and true tactic that the Democrats will use for the midterms and then going into 2028. Do you want to know how we're going to get Medicare for all? The debate is over. We tried it with forced to vote. It was a good tactic. It could have worked in theory if we actually had strong, progressive leaders in the Democratic Party, but we didn't. We thought we did. I thought we did, and I was very naive and foolish to even believe in that notion. That's the L I have to carry. But force to vote could have worked. And Matt Gaetz proved that force to vote as a concept is very possible. But AOC will never do that. All right. She's not going to rock the boat. So the only way we're going to really fight to get Medicare for all is through ballot initiatives. Sort of like how we're doing with cannabis legalization. It's being done state by state. And while the nightmare continues on, unfortunately and sadly, for quite some time, we are going to be still seeing our loved ones struggle day in, day out with this ridiculous medical system we have. But don't worry, folks. I got one other thing for you. It's our friends from Fox News, because they weigh in on Bernie Sanders being pragmatic. Again, Bernie is not a fighter. He's a cuck. He has no spine in this fight. How many times have we seen RBN, Due Dissonance, Hard Lens Media, my channel, of course, Jimmy Dore, and so many other platforms, so many other shows call out the Democrats for their failures? They are just not going to follow through. But don't worry. They have plenty of time to text, call you, send you letters in the mail and emails asking you for money.
Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election. I support Medicare for all. She does not. She has another approach toward moving toward universal health care.
So that last little bit that he said there, Carly, was we have the same ultimate goal, but we have different ways of getting there. I don't think that's going to set easy with a lot of voters.
Listen, voters. The fact that many of you believe that Democratic and Republican politicians actually give a damn about you is very concerning. If somebody said, hey, I believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Loch Ness Monster, and Bigfoot, I would have more trust in that person than a person saying, oh, I believe in our elected process of our Democratic and Republican lawmakers because at the end of the day, they care about us. Really? They do? I didn't get the memo.
Well, he also called her pragmatic. And I mean, it's very normal for a candidate who's now facing a general election to come more to the center on stuff. And, this is what Harris is trying to reconcile. She has evolved from her position in terms of Medicare for all versus, a more centrist-oriented healthcare policy. She's doing the same in terms of positions in immigration and economy. And politicians evolve all of the time. And we've seen Trump change his mind and say conflicting things about many issues all of the time. And what voters are going to be paying attention to tomorrow night in the debate is just where she lands on some of these issues she does need to go and define more substantively.
I agree 100%. It's that last issue. I mean, voters are looking. I've never seen voters more interested in a debate. Maybe the last one with Biden, and of course that turned out terribly, but people want to know where she's going to be landing tomorrow on the issues. Carly, Kelsey, thank you so much.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about that. What exactly will Kamala stand for? Will she actually, I don't know, actually do something, to make things better for people's lives? Because in case y'all may not notice this, look at this. Invest in affordable childcare and long-term care. Look at this. I mean, Vice President Harris cast a deciding vote on the American Rescue Plan, okay, which made historic investments in the care economy. As president, she will fight to lower care costs for American families, including expanding high-quality home care services for seniors and people with disabilities, and ensuring hardworking families can afford high quality. Again, it's all words, hot air. Oh, strengthen and bring down the cost of health care. No. Yeah, as Attorney General, okay, that's what she did. She took on insurance companies, big pharma. Did she really? You know, as a senator, she fought Donald Trump's attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Okay, still the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, also known as Romney Care, is a Heritage Foundation idea. Nothing in here about Medicare for all. She has no plan. Gee, Bernie, you talk about the differences between you and Kamala. And the thing is, you two stand for nothing. I mean, you gave up on your values, Bernie, which leads to the first video I played, the audio reading from Callan Johnston's Twitter account. The Democrats don't care if they lose. They stand for nothing. The issues that Kamala Harris has, it took them, 48 days. 48 days. 48 days to put up policies. And even then, whoever was coding that website, as we have showed live on air on yesterday's show, it still has help reelect Joe Biden in there, which is stupid. Now, they did fix it, to be clear. But what kind of sloppy campaign are you running here, Democrats? It tells me that you don't care if you win or lose, which means the Democrats, they flip the coin and wait, it's not heads or tails. It's both the same side. They don't care if they lose because they know that enough people will be triggered by a Trump victory to once again be suckered in to giving money to the Democratic Party. And then, of course, they're going to wheel out the same people like AOC and Bernie to cheer people on as they get marched to the slaughter. We're not getting Medicare for all if Kamala Harris wins. We're not going to get student debt forgiveness if Kamala Harris wins. And even if the Democrats do lose, they're going to still get what they want, which is why I say it is our social responsibility to wake people up so they can break away from this political system. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, okay, we have to wait another 4 years. Okay, we have to be pragmatic. Okay, we have to do this. How many loved ones have we lost? How many people have we seen lose everything because of a system that is being still propped up by Democratic and Republican politicians who put on this mask saying that they care? They care about their money. They care about their legacy. They care about their freaking jobs. They don't care about us. And no matter what, they don't care if they lose. It's like wrestling. You know, one day they're the heel and then one day they're the face. And nothing fundamentally changes.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.